Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Thomas.
Good evening. It is the Lions Fan Cave chat, and we got Yoli Cruz in the chat already saying hello to everyone. Say hello, Yoli. I got my buddies with me. I got Bistrilla the Thriller. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Al Capitano. How you doing?
Fan-fucking-tastic. Well, how are you tonight?
I'm okay. My soccer team lost today, but I'm ready to talk football to get over the loss.
Smoking
It's kinda
Dad
like
in the
football.
building. Smoking Dad in the building. Good to see you, Dad. Well, I want to go over this because I did it this morning. I did my own. Who do you got the way too early making the 53-man roster? Let's break it down room by room. Bistrilla, who do you got starting at quarterback?
Oh, Jared Goff. That's
And who's
without a
his
doubt. Oh, Hunter Hooker.
Okay. Will?
Goff and Hooker.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I like saying it backwards because it sounds better. Hookers and Goff. It almost sounds like you're trying to talk about another sport.
Hookers and golf. Golf. Save
Is that a
Detroit.
sport?
It should be.
Hooker golf.
Mike Marsh. Man, we got a Bear fan and two Packer fans in the chat already. Mike Marsh was the guy that was with us on Wednesday. Good to see you. And
Mike
now
Marsh.
I'm going to
What's up,
start
buddy?
with you, Will. We sometimes run 4, but usually it's 3. Let's just say the 4 off the bat. Who do you got at running back?
Man, I need to look at this roster more, but I know the running backs. Trust me, I know the key positions. Don't worry.
Okay. Who's the main 2?
Monty and Gibbs
Right.
and Craig and Vaki, right?
Yeah. All right, Bistrilla.
So the starting 2 is obvious. I'm even thinking that Jahmyr Gibbs might be the starter, with Montgomery being running back number 2, and he'll be the pound guy, and Jahmyr Gibbs is the flash guy because he's going to be in most plays because he can catch the ball better than Montgomery out the backfield, although Montgomery can do it. I think the backups will be Craig Reynolds will definitely be one of the backups. It's going to be a fight between Zonovan Knight and Sion Vaki, but I think they're going to like Sion Vaki as the 4th. which might leave Knight on the practice squad. So yeah, I think those will be my starting four.
And I think that you're right because Baki has that better special teams tape than what Zonovan Knight has. Because you remember the first play that Zonovan Knight did on special teams last year is what got him hurt for the season.
A jet mini skirt?
A jet skirt.
Oh, a jet skirt?
No, what is a jet skirt, Dad? You might as well put it in the chat because I have no clue. I know what the
No.
mini skirt is.
What's up, Rumble?
Lorenzo.
Rumble in the house. What up, though, gents? Thank God it's Friday. And
Yeah,
Matt
I'm a
Henry,
co-host there,
that
buddy.
is probably from one of those clickbait sports sites because there is no way they're bringing in Andre Ware to teach Hook or anything. What
I don't even know what to say to that one. I don't even know what to say to that one.
is that the skirt that the girl on the tarmac wears when the jet takes off so it blows up and you see your butt?
You probably.
It's 2 inches above the cockpit.
Nice. That's a great joke.
Actually,
That's
it's a
awesome.
type of skirt.
Yep.
It is actually a type of skirt. Weird. But anyway.
That's funny though, 2 inches above the cockpit.
That's perfect.
Oh, but
There you go.
ever planned to multi-stream to run Rumble 2? I have. Rumble has been on this show many times,
Yep.
and he will be back. Been working hard and had a lot going on lately.
Yep.
Keegan was supposed to be on, but he had some family issues come up tonight, and I'm good with that. Just like our buddy Cameron Lueck, whose wife just gave birth at 3:45 this morning to their baby girl. Yesterday, while I was chatting with the guys from Ken and Ken Morning Podcast that airs on the Huddle Sports Network, my niece gave birth to her baby girl.
Well, look at
Oh,
this.
We
Everybody
got
awesome.
having
lions
babies.
cubs. We got lions cubs being born everywhere, from Michigan to Texas.
Right. Getting married and having babies.
Oh, the YouTube alternative Rumble. I haven't heard of it. I might. I'm trying to get my Kick set up, and because Kick does a better job of paying out than Twitch or YouTube, so I'm working on that as well. I got a lot of things I'm working on. I'm also developing our own website so I can have my own articles published there, as well as sell our sports memorabilia that Dan Leonard makes.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
So we got a lot of things. The kneecap biting sports network is basically what it is. And then soon, once we get it there and we can start airing stuff on there and it starts to bring us in an income, we're going to add another Roku app.
What's up,
Kneecap biting
James?
sports network. James Burgess,
James.
happy 5th, said Jim B to Jack D. Yep. Some Jim Beam to Jack Daniels. I got it. But I'll look into Rumble because I'm always into expanding. Right now, I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and Twitter, and that's a lot already.
Yep.
Because I'm in 2 pages on Facebook, I'm in my channel on YouTube, I'm in Huddle Sports Network is on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick.
Yep.
Who would want Lions memorabilia? Lions.
Lions.
You might want some
You might want some after this year.
after the Super Bowl year. Yeah.
And I love it when I see those memes that say these teams don't have rings and they include the Browns and Lions in it. And yes, I add the Browns into it because the Browns, just like the Lions, had many championships prior to the Super Bowl being created. And the ring ceremony started in 1930. So 1934, 1951, 1954, 1957. That's 4
Yeah,
rings.
four. Yeah.
And I believe Cleveland Browns actually had 6 championships then because they got really good in the 40s and won a couple there. And then it was like the years we didn't win, Cleveland was winning.
I think they
Gotcha.
got as many as we do. I'm not
They
sure.
either got 4 or they got 6. I can't remember which it is. But those are still rings. And I'll argue that point no matter what.
I
I
mean,
remember
but then,
when
but
the
then
huddle.
you're going to have Green Bay fans, and it's true. It's just what it is.
No,
They
we are
they
not the only Super Bowl era team to never go to the Super Bowl. That is a fallacy. The Texans haven't been there. The Jaguars haven't been there.
Jacksonville, yeah. Carolina has been there
Carolina's been
actually.
there with Scam Newton.
Yep.
Scam Newton.
Yeah, long
Texans,
before any of us. But
Jags,
guess what? My
Lions.
dad in the chat actually was alive to hear the last Lions championship in
1957.
1957 on the radio.
Yeah, it's just 4. Oh, well, let me hold
Yeah,
on. Hold
they
on.
got 4 as well. Okay.
Hold on. It's
I don't think
conference.
the Browns have ever been in the Super Bowl, have
Yep, they got 4.
I
1950,
don't believe they have.
1954, 1955, and 1964. Those are their championships.
they? Right. The year before the Super Bowl started.
Yep.
Well, they just missed it. Yeah, long before any of us. Right.
Hey, that's okay. It's still history. It's still NFL history that they have rings. Because if you're not going to count those 4, I don't want to hear the Packers counting 13 because they've only got 4.
All right. But you
Yep.
know that's going to be impossible for them to do.
Right. Because they count those 13 championships, the 9 that were prior to the Super Bowl. That is why they're called title town.
Yep.
And it's perfectly acceptable. I get it. But other than Dallas's Super Bowls, have they won any world championships? Nope. All they got is 6.
Yeah, I think then they come after and after the Super Bowl was
Yep.
They
yeah,
came
didn't they
in
do
with
that?
the merger in 61.
61. Okay, yeah. Right.
Jacksonville and Tennessee have only existed since 98-ish, and Tennessee has been to the Super Bowl versus the Rams. Super Bowl is the new
It's
marketing name for the NFL championship game, nothing more. Yes, it used to be called the NFL World Championship. They didn't even start making the trophy until they called it the Lombardi.
Yep.
again. Let's not go into that because again, Lombardi is Green Bay.
Yeah,
So
and Lombardi's Green Bay, and I get it. Lombardi's Lombardi. I get it. I ain't even mad at it.
no, Lombardi was a great coach. Deserves to be named after him.
But that being said, let's go on to the wide receiver room. I'm going to start with you, B. Who do you got making it? Are we going to have 5 or 6 this year?
I'm going to think that we're going to have 6 only because we're thin at that position. Well, thin by long shot. We don't have a lot of talented receivers at that position. Of course, we're going to have Ahmad, the Sun God, is going to be a starter. That's without a doubt. We know Jamison Williams is the number 2. What really gets tricky is who's going to start at number 3.
Right.
Now that could be between DPJ and Khalif. Um, I mean, I'm hearing that DPJ could be the slot, but I just don't like a 6'2" slot receiver.
Hmm.
I like a smaller slot receiver. That's me, and my name ain't Dan Campbell, so it
Right.
could be him. We got Caden Davis, Darius Fountain, Antoine Green, Isaiah Williams. I haven't heard anything real in Traquan Smith. I haven't heard anything too much about any of those players, to tell you the truth. I don't think Tom Kennedy's making it this year. I think there's too much more talent than him. I think he was good when we didn't have, you know, a lot of talent on there in the first place, but now we do have a little bit more talented receivers. I wouldn't be surprised, and Green's got to make a charge. I have heard that Green hasn't been doing exactly the greatest,
But
but
he's
Jalen, we got
what I.
Jalen Calhoun too.
Yep.
But I wouldn't mind seeing Darius Fountain. I like big receivers, we need some big receivers. We got to quit playing with these small receivers all the time because everybody is not Amon St. Brown. So
Right.
um, I like Traquan Smith too. I think he's got enough veteran presence to make the roster. Um, so I got about what was that 5 there? I think my sixth one. Well, 1, 2, 3,
You've
4,
already
5, 6. Yeah, I got 6 right there. Yep. I think Isaiah Williams will go to the practice squad. Um,
and be
he's
depth
a
in
little.
case of an injury type
He's
thing.
he's like the smallest guy on the team anyway. So
Right. I mean,
almost.
I think he's the same height as Leaf Raymond and 10 pounds lighter.
Yeah, he's like 186 pounds too. On top of it, I think he besides who did I say was 180 was.
And Daddy Cameron Luke in the chat. How you doing, Cameron? Congratulations again, sir.
Yes, congrats, Cameron.
All right, Cam. Yep, congratulations, buddy.
Got the baby in his profile pic.
I love it.
Will, we are to
I got
you.
I got the same. Yeah, 6.
From what I'm hearing, it's a battle for Darius Fountain and Traquan Smith because both of them were really doing well at contested catches in the red zone during OTAs. So,
Um,
no, you Carolina hasn't won a Super Bowl, have they?
No,
no, the first one before Cam Newton was 2003 against the Patriots, where we
they
lost
lost
by
by field
Adam
goal.
Vinatieri field goal.
Yeah, Vinatieri kicked the field goal in that one, and then the second one, Denver just came to, and
Just
Denver's defense just beat the hell out of Cam
Polished,
Newton. Cam Newton was like,
polished them. I
yeah,
don't think. I think it might have been CTE that caused the car crash with Cam Newton on the way home that hurt his back.
I think so. I think so. No, seriously.
I don't know why, because I don't know where he got CTE from because he sure wasn't going after fumbles anyway.
He got
Uh,
in a bad car accident that year.
Yep, Carolina has been there but never won. But that one versus the Colts was 2004, right? The famous
what's
We
that?
Justin
never played
Timberlake and
against the
Janet
Colts.
Jackson halftime show.
That was Peyton Manning versus Chicago that year,
That
wasn't
was
it?
oh
Oh,
six. Oh
oh,
four was Eagles, Patriots.
Could have been, yeah.
it's four. It was either Carolina.
The Donovan McNabb thrown up on the field
Who did
thing
Jake
going
Bell
on.
hold quarterback for?
Oh, the oh three Panthers.
That was 03. That's the year. 04 Super Bowl. 03 year.
Okay.
04
Okay.
Super Bowl.
Okay.
And he never slid either. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
problem with Cam Newton. He refused to slide. He would take the hits.
I didn't like Cam.
he
He
would,
was
and that's what killed
obnoxious
me.
and
He would never
cocky.
slide and take the hit, but he couldn't go after a fumble in the game that mattered the most.
Right.
I didn't like Cam. Never did.
All right. Here's my list.
Still don't.
It's Amon Ron Jamo. That's 1 and 2. My up in the air because they say he's improved, but he hasn't done great, and that was Antoine Green. But he's on the back end of it. He's got the chance to be the 4 or 5 at this point. The 3 or the 4, it's going to be a battle between DPJ and Khalif, 100%. And I think they're going to do that wide receiver 3 position depending on the situation. If it's a third and short, you might see somebody like Leaf who's going to be faster than anybody else out there. And DPJ, because of his contested catch ability in his career, it's an 82.5% contested catch rate. They'll probably use him on the third and longs because he'll have a better chance at catching those contested catches. That's
He's
just
Well,
my
another thing
opinion.
you got to remember something too that we don't have a wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. We just
No,
have a depth chart list.
right.
Amon can play any of the wide receiver roles. So can actually Khalif and Jamo. It's been shown, proven many times. So we don't really have that. We just got depth. That's what we really should be talking about now. Who's
And,
going to start? 'Cause
and like I said, that wide receiver 6 position, I think it's a battle between Reese Fountain and Traquan Smith. Whoever does better in
mhm.
the preseason gets it. The other one goes to the practice squad.
Yep.
Now, O line, I think this is the year we're going to carry 10 just because I'm hearing good things about certain players at key positions. I think the real battle is the backup at left guard between Coyote Awasika and Colby Sorsdal. I have heard that Giovanni Manu more than likely will be a backup for one of the tackle positions, and the other one's going to be Dan Skipper. We know that Dan Skipper has done well in his stead when he's had to replace either Decker or Sewell, depending on how they lined them up. When Decker goes out, they usually move Sewell, and Skipper's the guy that starts on the opposite side every time, and he does pretty good there.
I agree.
But the other backup that's been surprising people at OTAs, because that's the only position that's really on the field in the 7-on-7s, it's been Kingsley Egukun. Because while Frank Ragnow was still getting healthy and had to take the first week off, he was doing both first and second team center reps. And we also gave him the most of the guaranteed money of the guys we signed on the O line, which is a sign that they want this kid. Because every time they do that, those guys seem to make the roster. And that's why I said we're gonna have 10, is because of Kingsley Engukun. Because it would be much better than having to move Glasgow to center and then bring a backup in at guard. It would be better to have a backup center in there.
It would be good to have 10 just in case depth.
So, Will, what do you think? Do you agree with that, or do you think they're
Yeah.
going to run with 9?
No, I agree. I think 10's a good safe bet for depth. And it's good to have guys who depth. I agree.
What do you think, B?
I think it really depends on how many tight ends they keep.
I think
Because I think the offensive line could be 9 or 10, depending on that. I can see at guard Zettler and Oswiska. What the hell is his name? Coyote. I'm just calling him Coyote. Coyote and Kevin Zettler, I see definitely on there. I also see as center is Ragnow and Kingsley. I see both of them. And at tackle, I do see Taylor Decker, obviously, Penei Sewell, without a doubt. Dan Skipper. I see those 3 making it. Christian Mahogany making it.
Mm-hmm.
Glasgow obviously is going to make it. Giovanni is going to be. I don't know if Giovanni. Now, see, this is the thing. You got Colby Swordstill and you got Giovanni Manu. If they go to 10, they'll keep both of them. If they go to 9, I would say that they're going to put Giovanni Manu on the practice squad for right now.
I think they'll have to do something to protect him, though, for the first couple of weeks. Because if the game film that I saw while he was in college, and yes, I know it's Canadian college, I don't care. The game film is what got him drafted by the Lions. The guy is a mauler. I mean, his only problem was in Canadian, they don't really get into the whole about letting go when they're holding on to somebody and putting them down. In the NFL, they do. That's what they're working on with him, is what I've heard. But at the same time,
that's a big thing, though. That's a big thing in the NFL. You can't be holding. Can't be holding for more
than
as
many holding calls as what Stenberg did in college. But RXJ, what's up, my man? 10 is a good bet for another reason. We've had a few kids to develop, and Hank might not stay forever if he gets ambitious. More bodies for plowing the field. No pun intended, but I love it.
Oh, God.
They're going to plow the field for Hooker?
And I think...
Oh, no.
Oh, plowing the field for a hooker.
Plowing the field with the hooker.
Okay. And Paul Jones. Hey, it's Paul Jones. O-line runs deep into the practice squad. Yes, because we haven't even mentioned Nitane Mutai. It's his first name I always screw up. And then there's other guys that we've got there. We've got that Bruce Hudson, but he's a UDFA, really didn't get any guaranteed money, so I don't see him having a chance to make it. And with what they said about Sorsdahl, it really depends, because that's why I said I think his battle more is with Coyote Awasika at left guard, because when he subbed in at left guard before we got Awasika, he did a good job. When they used him at right guard is where he looked bad, but he doesn't have to back up right guard because we drafted Mahogany that can only play right guard.
Coyote is not a bad guard at all. I mean, you got to remember, he's been here since He's been here since the start of the regime, and he's filled in very well.
Right,
There was I think it was the year before last year when he had to fill in um, for at the time Jonah,
right. He had to fill in
and
for Jonah because
yep,
Glasgow had
and he
to move
did
to
very
center.
well.
Glasgow had to move to center, and
Hmm.
Sorsdahl had to play right guard, which he never played before. The only guard position he ever played was left guard.
Yeah, that's where he was getting his ass kicked at.
And
Yeah,
he got his ass handed to him at right guard in that game. And that's one of the reasons why Goff had so many fumbles that game is because the right guard was like a turnstile in a subway at rush hour.
yeah, because
I,
the
I,
line still
I
rings through
don't like
Ragdown.
because if it had been Panay Sewell charged with those sacks, they wouldn't have said he only had one sack all year.
Yep.
And now this is where I think that we get shorted a guy. It's the tight end room. I think it's only going to be three because we hardly ever put a fourth one out there. We've used tackles in that extra position when we've had to do a jumbo set because we put Dan Skipper out there. We put Dan Skipper on the line and rotated Taylor Decker out there. Hell, the year before we put Panay Sewell out there as tackle eligible to catch because Zylstra, has he been healthy the entire time? No. So that's a question mark on him. And the other guy that's been showing out this offseason has been Parker Hess. So I'll let you go, B. What do you think? Who is the three that we keep at tight end?
Well, again, you got to look at it like this: if they feel that their offensive line is going to be fine with nine, because they are thin, they are thin talent wise with wide receivers. So what they want to do is fill that kind of cross over to wide receiver and tight end a little bit with another guy that can catch the ball. Now, I heard that James Mitchell might not be coming back here. They don't know this yet. It's a rumor. So he might be the one that gets X'd. But in the meantime, you still got Zystra, Bright, McKeenan, Laporta, and Hess. And with you, I've heard Hess has been doing good things too. I would probably think, like I said, depends on what they feel the tight end, if the tight ends are going to do. Because right now they got six on a roster. They should cut it down at least by two by the time training camp is over with. Um, I really do think that they can keep four. Again, I can't make a decision based on what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell can see all the time, but I think the thing is that it could be four tight ends or three tight ends. I know they're going to keep Laporta, duh,
Yeah,
and I think Parker Hess is in just because his phenomenal. It just has to come down to who they want to keep. I mean, they did sign Zystra last year, didn't they? Or the beginning of this year, didn't they sign him for a long term contract?
who was that?
Zystra.
Yep.
Zystra just got a 1 year.
Oh, he just got 1 year.
Yeah, he's got a 1 year. Brock
Oh,
Wright was the one that we gave the 3 years to.
and I really never thought. I mean, Zystra is good. I just don't. I don't think he's to tell you the truth. I don't think he's better than Mitchell or Wright. To tell you the truth, I like Mitchell. I
Does
like Brock Wright too. I just don't like. I still. He was hurt. I understand that, but you got to remember you got Sean McKeon there, Michigan. Michigan has good tight ends too. They've had a route of good tight ends, just like Iowa. I would at least keep if I'm gonna keep them three. I would keep them three.
uh, Detroit Fan Man says, still give me Mutai over Awasika. Here's Reisman's take, June 10th. Mutai, who regularly got first team reps when Kevin Zietler had days off, Awasika played a depth role behind him. I just wanted to bring that up. And for the first time in a long time, we got FFP in the chat. That's Fruity Fred Peterson, as
Oh, there
Devon
you
would
go.
like to call him. Dad says he's going outside for a smoke. Be careful. It was just pouring, raining cats and dogs here. I was worried that the internet was going to cut out, but it looks like it's doing just fine. And Grandizer, thank you for reciting Gridiron Heroes. He says, growl loud at the top of your lungs. You might like it. Nah, not tonight. I don't feel like growling yet. But thank you, Fred, for coming on in because we've missed you here. It's been a minute.
There's a lot of people on here I haven't seen. Since I've been on here.
I
With
just came here
Fred
for the
and Granzier.
2024 Detroit Lions cheerleaders evaluation. That's concerning it. They
I
have
know,
their
right? We do have. Was it 4 new cheerleaders now on the team?
right.
So
We had 3 retire, and they added 1 more, so now there's
I love
12.
to retire. How does a cheerleader retire? I mean, I can see when you get like 40 or something, 35 or whatever, your looks
She
aren't the
retired.
best after that. But
She retired because she's
retire?
from Canada, and she started her own cheerleader school for
Oh
teaching young
yeah,
girls
oh,
how
that's
to be a
cool.
cheerleader. Her name's Adina Rainbird.
That's cool.
I know her on Twitter. It is actually almost 3 weeks. They're talking like the last week of July, like that Friday before the last week of July is when it's going to start, if I remember right. And
Mm.
Fred Peter says, "Yeah, I've been very busy, and frankly, I got burned out from all the football. Had to take a break just for a bit. I hope you all are doing."
Yes, sir.
She retired to 8 Mile.
Mm.
No, that would be 6 Mile, sir. Six
Mm.
Mile is where the hooker jersey led the league in sales last year for because those girls are finally proud to have their name on the back.
6. Wow, there's 24, 26 cheerleaders.
26 now? Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, that's right, because they have the dance team too, which is still considered a cheerleader. They got the dance team, and then they got the pom pom girls.
They got 5 captains.
Hmm.
This girl right here, I know I used to watch this with my daughter because she liked watching it. But you ever heard of Hit the Floor? It was a show that came out about a fictional Los Angeles basketball team and the cheerleaders and stuff like that. It was kind of a rated R type of TV show. There's one girl, Nicole, looks just like one of these girls on that show.
Oh my.
Dang. But yeah, she was country too.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll follow baseball when Chris Ilitch breaks open the checkbook so Scott Harris can get us some good players.
she retired to 8 Mile. Y'all ain't right for
Oh,
that.
They ain't right. No, she's actually from Windsor, and she used to cross over the tunnel just to come try. Did the tryouts, made the team. But she was older when she made the team and became captain. She's now 41.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. That's when they retire, when they get older.
But
They still look good. I mean,
yeah, she
most of them
opened her own.
cheerleaders still look pretty good.
She
But
opened
moving wise, doing all them cheer things, yeah, that Piper takes a toll on her body.
right, and now she's teaching young girls how to cheerlead and be in a part of a dance team, and that's cool as hell.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
So who knows? Maybe we'll see some of those ones come up in 10, 18 years to be Lions
there you
cheerleaders.
go, JB. Now that is an assignment. Go
Interview
and
with one of.
find one of them cheerleaders and get an interview.
Hey, I'm working on getting Adina right here on the show. I've been working on it, but she's always busy on Fridays because she's got classes. Illich Jr. ain't like Pops. Mr. Mike liked to win and tried hard to do it. JB retired from Detroit Lions on the Prowl. JB started working on his own podcast and would occasionally jump in. And as a matter of fact, Kurt Steele just started up his podcast again
Mm-hmm.
this past week.
Congratulations to
And,
Kurt.
and on Thursday, I was his first guest not named Mike Jones or LL Cool Torrance.
All right.
yep.
We went live and
Let's
we
see if I can
talked
get
about
on there.
this type of stuff right here. And I wanted to go over the offense tonight. Next week, we're going to tackle the defense. So, Will, what do you think about the tight end room? Is it going to be 3 or is it going to be 4?
I think it's gonna be 3.
I do too. And I think the battle is for tight end 3 between Zylstra and Hess.
Yep.
That's the battle. And yes, we've got the other guys, but I didn't hear anything about the other guys all camp, and I heard about Parker Hess a lot. Not
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
he.
not just from me. I've heard about it outside of here because he is an Iowa graduate. He was a teammate in the understudy to Sam Laporta. That's a huge boon to have in your pocket. Because if Sam Laporta says, "Yeah, that's the guy I want," buy Zylstra.
Yes, sir, Mr. Laporta, sir. So what are we gonna say? I know Laporta likes to crap on defense because he's Laporta potty. So are we gonna say Hess makes a mess of defenses?
Right. There you go. Yeah.
Hess is
And
a mess.
you know how the Laporta potty got started, and I'm going to give credit where credit was due. It was Bandit. And
Mm-hmm.
I was the one that added the tagline because he shits on defenses everywhere.
He was like,
We're
yep,
going to stay
yep,
live
yep,
past
yep.
the hour, guys, because I do have a couple of things I want to talk about. But I know that Roku ends it at an hour because there's another show that comes on. But we don't have to quit. We can keep going. So if you guys
I'd
want to
probably
stay
have to
longer, we
leave
can.
at 11 because I
Oh,
have
I'm
work early.
not talking. Well, it's only 9:30. Will, I ain't talking about staying on for 2.5, 3 hours. I'm talking about staying on another half hour, 45 minutes just to shoot the shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we. That's great, Greg.
It is.
That's the comment of the night. Beep boop beep boop.
No, no, no.
The $6
That's
million
the
Jeremy
million
B.
dollar man was when he started running. Everything was slow motion, but they made everything else look fast around him.
I remember I used to have one of those Steve Austin action figures where you can look through his the hole in his eye.
And see through the bionic eye
Yeah,
telescope thing.
bionic
Yeah,
eye.
yep.
Yeah.
I had one too.
Damn,
I also
I'm
had a
old.
Stretch Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was young enough that my dad gave me a couple of the tall GI Joes that I messed up with firecrackers and everything else. If I'd have known they'd have been worth $800 without the box, I never would have did it.
Right.
Jeremy, you know what you need to look up? I don't know how much they are. Maybe a cool backdrop thing would be like a starting lineup of like Barry Sanders or something.
$1 Million Lions podcaster. I love it.
That's a good name. I like that.
And Stretch
Yeah.
was great, James Burgess said. I also had the Evil Knievel wind up
Evil.
stunt bike.
Mm-hmm. I had that one too.
And man, if you really did crank it up, you could have that thing launch and make it jump 10 feet up in the air with the right size ramp.
And I took that thing outside because I wasn't about to be. I was trying to jump all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
my room was a little bit small for that to be happening.
I
Evil
had a 10
Knievel would
by
be
10
smashing
rail
against the wall
or
for
going
real.
through the window. Because back then we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have plexiglass windows or vinyl windows. They were glass.
Yeah, they were glass. Good old fashioned glass. 1940s glass.
Where the glass was more leaded than the gas that went in your gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, I agree. I think the battle is at tight end 3. Rock'em
Yes,
Sock'em Robots
James.
was good too. The one that catches my eye is the one we're gonna discuss right now. And Kurt Steele talked with me about it. I talked to Will and B just before the show, but my God, what is Bleacher Report thinking letting this guy smoke crack and write a trade proposal? That's all I got to say. The Lions are projected to send 3 players and a pick to Dallas, and the 3 players are DPJ, Craig Reynolds, and Hendon Hooker, and a 5th-round pick. So they can send Brendan Cooks, a 3rd-round pick, and a 5th-round pick to Arizona, and all the Lions get back is Bubba Baker.
No,
What do
so
you think
stupid.
of that trade proposal, Bistrilla?
It's stupid.
He's stupid.
You're making Dallas be strong. Why the hell would you want to make Dallas be? You know what? I'm just sick of Dallas. I hate Dallas. Dallas can go kick rocks. We don't need to be making them any better.
The Dallas Cowgirls cheerleaders are the only thing I like about that team.
And since we got our own, I don't like them either.
James Burgess said, "What kind of pipe is he smoking? Somewhere between crack and meth."
A
Somewhere.
mix of both. It's called both.
He goes, huh, "I was waiting for you to say Micah Parsons." Nah.
Micah
We
doesn't show
already
up in
got
playoff games.
we already got one guy that's going to be probably getting that 25 to 30 million next year at defensive end. We don't need to. Not right
Exactly.
now. If one of these young guys or one of these unproven step up and prove to be the good complement, we're in perfect at. We're in a perfect situation, is what I think. What do
Yeah,
you
we
think,
don't need
Nate?
Buda Baker. Yeah, we don't need
No.
him. We really don't.
I
We
like
gotta
our.
have good safeties out there.
I mean, if we want to talk safety room right now, I think there's five that's probably going to make the team. There's a good possibility. I think we run with only five corners and five safeties for our 10 defensive backs. Because normally it's a 6 and 4 type of situation where you run with four safeties and then you run with six corners. I think we only need to run with five.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say that is because if Emmanuel Mosley's healthy, he's a depth piece now. He's going to be at best a dime back. At best.
Yeah.
You know, him and Enos will probably be battling for a spot. That's for sure.
Yeah, I,
Oh,
I, I got Rakestraw making it at least at CB5 no matter what. But I think he's going to end up being the dime back. But I think the five safeties we end up with is because the one guy has a lot of special teams value is the guy we signed back after his suspension was lifted. And that's CJ
CJ
Moore.
Moore.
CJ Moore did more on special teams than he ever did at any time on the field at safety. We got Branch at strong safety. We got Kirby Joseph at free safety again, like he played his rookie year because of Tracy Walker being hurt, which in all actuality, everybody says, oh, he's not good at single high safety. He was rated better even by PFF. He was rated as a top 15 safety at free safety his rookie year.
yep.
So you've got him there, and I think his backup is going to be Brendan Joseph, and Branch's backup is if that Metal Famu.
You know, I really think that what they're going to do. I mean, we got so many cornerbacks, so many defensive backs, period, safeties included. It's hilarious. It's just like we got our own. We can start another football team with them.
Right. Because somebody's going to go to our practice squad and go to another team, and everybody's going to cry about it as usual. It happened.
I would really love Stephen Gilmore to at least be on the
Yeah.
practice squad.
Yeah, I know. I like Stephen Gilmore too, and if he has another priest, and Kirby is excellent as a high man
Yep.
safety. Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Roaming center field and reading the quarterback's eyes is what he's best at.
Mm-hmm.
When he's
I
left out
love.
there in that single high safety, he excels, in which they didn't get back to until we got aggressive, putting Nifietu Melifamu back in the box. Even though Kirby was playing strong safety, they were putting him in the middle in single high coverage.
Well, there's a little segue to that too because it was talked about earlier in the week with Amik Robertson that somebody said that he's a good role player, and that kind of set him off a little bit on Twitter,
Oh yeah,
just a bit.
yep,
He says, "Look, I'm playing for a starting role, which I think he's going to get a starting role. I'm just being honest with you. I think that everybody keeps talking about, oh, Branch got to be the nickel. No, he don't. Branch needs to play his safety position.
yes,
Amik Robinson is Branch. Just think about that. He's just an older version of Branch, but he's just as pesky as Branch is. He makes just as many tackles and good plays as Branch. He knows how to look. So
okay. If you wanted to trade for Bubba Baker, how would you rewrite that trade? Would you take out the third team and just go straight up trade? B?
I wouldn't want to trade for him. I just don't feel there's a need.
I don't feel it either, but I'm just saying if there was, what would be the trade offer you'd make? I'm not giving a first or a second rounder, that's for damn sure.
He ain't worth a first or second rounder, really, to tell you the truth. I mean,
He's a good, not
you're going
great.
to have to give him. You're going to have to. I would. I mean, you're going to have to give him a. I would have to trade him. I'd have to trade a DB and a pick for him. Somebody's got to go because he's got to fill somebody's space.
Because he's
Exactly.
more
So it could be like for instance, we could trade Kendall Vildor or
the depth piece that I said about the veteran
Emmanuel
special.
Mosley or Kelly Dorsey. Any of those three, I would probably be willing to part with because they're not that detrimental to the team.
Right.
but they could use them. They could use somebody at safety. They need somebody to at least suffer for safety for a minute until they draft somebody or they can trade for another safety.
I
Now,
agree.
now, if they're trying to clear cap, because I think Bubba's on like a $10 million contract for another 2 years, would you consider this? And I'm only saying it because I think it would be better in the long run this way. Even though Brendan Joseph, they probably wouldn't accept it. You know what I'm saying? Because he hasn't been on the field in a game situation yet. He was on the practice squad last year. But the guy who actually excelled for 6 games, you might not have to give a pick. What if they let you trade straight up Ifeatu Melifonwu for Bubba Baker?
Hmm.
Hell no.
Okay, because
I'm not trading any of my safeties.
I know we gotta sign him next year is the only reason why I suggested that. That would be my suggestion because then you don't have to worry about re-signing him to a big contract where I think he's worth more than Bubba Baker contract wise, and you'd get him for 10 million for 2 years. You don't have to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was getting at because one thing Bubba Baker is, he is one of the fastest safeties out there. That is not a joke.
Who's that?
Yep.
Bubba Baker.
Buddha Baker.
Buddha
Buddha
Baker.
Baker?
Bubba Baker. I always call him Bubba.
Not after suffering a hamstring injury. No, he ain't.
Will, would
You-
you make a
you-
trade for him at all, or would you just
I
not do it?
don't even try.
I don't know. I think he's good. I still think there's more for Iffy to produce.
Okay.
He's 28 years old. Let's keep him young.
Yep.
Ooh, silly question. Conditional draft pick, a first if the Lions reach the Super Bowl, a second if the Lions reach the playoffs, a third if no Lions reach the playoffs, and it depends if Brian Branch contributes or Bubba Baker contributes. Hmm. Yeah, because he'd be a depth piece here. He's not needed to start. That's the thing.
Exactly.
That's why it's not a need to me. I
Yep.
think our safety room is in real good shape myself.
There's some
The
other
oldest safety, the oldest actual safety on there is C.J. Moore. He's 28.
Right,
Everybody else is 25 and under.
right. They're all on rookie contracts.
So let's keep them. Weed out the ones that are going to be extraordinary, and don't sign those guys. I mean, we're going to sign. I don't see Banks
So
or not Banks.
I thought it was funny that on this show we reported it a month ago that DJ Reader, because of his wife, has got to have a cesarean birth. She can't lift for like 2 to 3 weeks. Because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be bedridden for 2 or 3 weeks, not lift, which means someone has to be there to lift the baby. And yes, he could hire somebody to do it, but he wants to be the father during that couple of weeks, taking care of his baby and his wife. And I commend him for that. Reader was already working out with the rehab team, and he's close to being able to come back physically from his injury last year. So now all of a sudden, all the beat writers are writing, "Oh my God, Reader's not going to be back to the second week of camp or later." I think they all need to chill on it. They're just trying to make drama where drama doesn't
They're
need to be.
just trying to do clickbait. That's all that is. And then they were considering it a want. That's what they say. There's not a need, a want.
Well, right now, I think we have, because of the whole thing with the Cam Sutton thing, aren't we one of the teams with the most cap room left right now? Like we're in the top.
Top three.
Yeah. So realistically, I don't really want to trade for anybody. I want to roll that cap over because we don't have a lot of cap room next year.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
agree.
want to keep on a hold onto that 34 million. Hold on to at least 30 of it to roll it over because there's going to be injury signings. This is the
And
NFL. People get hurt. That's 100% going to happen. No matter what team you play for, how healthy they are, somebody's going to get hurt at one point or another, and you have to sign a depth.
And to answer that question, though, I would say that if there's anybody out there that I would think the Lions would be really interested in trading for. I think Judon is the guy because they need if they can get him to be on the other side of Hutch. Judon ain't no joke.
No,
Judon
Judon
is one of the
ain't a
best
joke.
defensive players the Patriots have right now, but the Patriots are in rebuild mode right now, so they're not. They're trying to make their cap space low themselves and trying to get players on there that are going to do something on there. Judon is a veteran player, and he's 30 something years old, but I'd keep him for a couple years,
Would you
and put
trade
him on the other
Matthew
side of.
Stafford? Here we
I
go.
mean, if he goes down, just think of it like this, though. If he goes down, then you got Davenport and you got Houston. You got plenty of people to back him up if that's the case. Same side with Hutchinson. Knock on wood, he don't get hurt. But the point is, you have somebody that's going to rush the quarterback, just like Hutchinson. So if we have two of them at the same time, Detroit would be definitely that would definitely rise their stakes up to getting in the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl.
Because they have very similar contracts, would you consider even trading Davenport or Judon?
I would.
Uh, Considering the fact that's something that's got to be worked out with the agents, because I don't know if that's something that they can go back on, because then they'd have to, because they just signed Davenport. I don't know why they would want to trade him. Um,
For an upgrade of somebody that stays healthy?
I
Yeah,
mean, but
that's
if you
why I
look at
would
it,
trade Davenport
I would
for
probably I
Judon.
would probably give. I mean, New England's an AFC team. We don't see it in New England at all. So
Right.
even if we gave them, maybe once in a blue moon, but if we gave them a draft pick, those are the only teams I would give a draft pick to as AFC teams because we don't play against them as much. So I would give them the draft picks for Judon. I don't
Right.
think I necessarily have to trade player for player because I would keep Marcus Davenport. Like I said, those are people that are good backups. I mean, Davenport we're slating in as a starter, but Judon is a hell of a lot better than Davenport is, and he
I think
stays
I'm
healthy.
higher on other guys on the roster than Davenport because of his health concerns.
Yep.
Not still. I mean, if he's not playing though, if he's coming in and spelling Judon from time to time,
Well, that's why I'm hoping that one of these other guys win the starter job, either Pascal or Betts. That's who I want to win the starting job, really. You can say what you want. It's to keep Davenport healthy and use him as a misguided missile on passing down.
there you go. Like I said, if we got Judon and didn't give up anything but draft picks, I mean, or a draft pick, that would work beneficial to the Lions because then their defensive line would be really good. I think what is it right now? They're slated to be the fourth best in the league, fourth best in the league.
We're
But
considered the fourth best roster overall in the league right now, which is crazy. They're saying our defensive interior duo is the best in the league right now with Reeder and McNeil. And that's just because one was fourth and the other one was seventh against the run.
Yep.
and then on top of it, I don't know how they got. Well, I guess you got to see what they will do because they got our cornerbacks at our defensive backs at 11. That's including safeties. So
Yeah, and I think it might be better than that. It
I
has
think
the
it's better than
potential to
the
be.
two. I mean, we'll see. I
It
mean,
has
on
the
paper, they're
potential to
better
be.
than that to
Right.
me.
On paper, I got them in the top 10. On paper.
Yep.
Nowhere am I putting them in the top 5. I'm not that big of a homer, but I think they're better on paper than everybody's giving them credit for.
And that's
Yep.
another fact. That's another fact, Grant Zier. Either way, and unless some fluke thing happens, we don't see the Lions draft picks being very high anyway. So
Right.
it really won't make a difference if we give them a second round pick, second or fourth or something like that. If we give them two draft picks, one high, one low, and for Judon, we just have to figure out how we're gonna put Judon's contract into our cap space. I mean, we can. That's automatic because we got enough cap space to sign him
It
for a
just means
couple of
that
years. But
we'll only have 20 rolling over next year instead of 30 because you
yeah,
automatically got to take 10 to 14 off of
right,
you.
yeah. So I mean, it depends on how the front office sees it. Do they want
Because
to roll over the money, or do they want to strengthen the defensive line even better if they feel that it'll be better with Judon on there? So I mean, I would take the chance only because Judon's not. He's still kicking butt, and he's 30-something years old. I mean, he comes there and plays every time
And
in
I
New
think
England.
the only
So
year he got injured was like either his second or third year, and it was just 3 or 4 games. He didn't miss a lot of time, if I remember right.
yeah, he let's see, what's his stats? Stats. So 2023. Well, he was kind of injured in 2023 too. He had 10 tackles, 4 sacks. 22 though, he had 36 tackles, 16 sacks, a forced fumble. 21, he had 38 tackles, 12 sacks, and a forced fumble. Those were his best 2 years in New England. He'd been playing on Baltimore too. Remember, he had 6 sacks in 20, 10 and 19, 7 and 18, and 8 and 17. And when he came into the league, he had 4 starting for Baltimore. So he's a sack machine. He definitely is that.
Are there any past Lions contracts still being carried to next year? No, that was the end of it. That's why we had so much cap room this year. Hallelujah. All of the Quintrasha era contracts are gone. And the only one we got is Taylor Decker.
And he
And
is the
that was
best lucky guess ever. Yeah, the Quintricia stuff is just about all gone. Like I said,
signed by
we still
Bragg,
got Taylor.
but Quinn re-signed Taylor, and it was fine because he was good enough to resign. And as a matter of fact, the only time he's had bad years was the rookie year when Glasgow started out as the left guard, and was that the last year we had Rob Sims, I think, at right guard next to Ricky Waters, and then Rob Sims got hurt, and they switched Glasgow to the other side, and we put our other rookie in that was a backup, and that was when Taylor Decker got hurt that year, if I remember right, because he was trying to protect for both people at the same time because that left guard was worse than Awasika, Sorsdal, and any other backup we put in combined.
Well, under Matt Patricia, the worst contract we had was Michael Brockers, and we got rid of him. So
And Jamie Collins and Trey
yeah,
Flowers.
well, Michael Brockers was a whole hell of a lot more money than Jamie was.
Fatty Matty Patty. God, what a franchise killer.
Yeah, he is pretty bad.
There's one person I think of whenever I hear the name Matt Patricia. We know who it is, Jeremy.
Bluto from Popeye.
No, you know who.
Lord Voldemort. What is it?
I'm not gonna say his name. We don't like the dude.
Say it. I don't care.
Nick Castro.
Oh. Nick
Uh,
Cantor, the guy that looks like Matt Patricia's son. It's okay. I gave him that nickname on the show. I actually
No,
changed
it was me.
the air. Well, you gave it to him, but I changed his name on the air so it read it. Matt Patricia's bastard son. I put it right underneath him.
And then we said, "Put your pets on your," and he's like, "You guys suck. You guys are
He
assholes."
literally said "f you" and left the show after that. It was funny.
Kid had bad taste.
classic,
Horrible taste.
classic Nick.
Well,
Classic.
Nick is the guy that can't handle negative things about anybody he likes. He can't. Uh, and this is AG's put up or shut up year. If this defense, passing wise, isn't better than 20th overall, and it has to be, it has to be. We were 32nd, 30th, and 29th in passing defense in the 3 years. If it hasn't improved to at least into the top 20, he's got to go. Matt Patricia, that dumbass used to chew his mustache on the sidelines during games. Yeah, because he didn't know how to use a comb and a trim. Ralph Williams,
Yo, what's going on, buddy?
good to see you, buddy. Would have loved to have had you on to rep the Steelers Wednesday, but I understand you're on vacation. And 100%, I hope you have an amazing time with your wife on vacation.
Yep.
I just
Wow.
forgot about it. Brain fart, uh, precursor to old man disease.
Yep. Wow. I can't believe.
But But
No, just time's flown
15
by.
seconds.
ah, they're it's okay. We're just gonna keep going because they got their show that comes on at 10. I don't have to stop. It's already 10:01. We're not stopping now. But thank you, Huddle Up Network, Roku, and everybody else. Without you guys, we wouldn't be going out and getting the reach we're getting now. We're growing every day. I mean, I was just talking to Will, and this is way back right after the season ended. We were sitting at about 220 subs, and here we are,
Yep.
3 months into the off season, sitting at 461. That's amazing growth in a slow news period.
Yeah, and I jumped in at, let's see, what year? 2022, was it?
2022 is when you started with me, and
Christmas?
back when I was only at like 120 subs.
So
Well,
I've
he'll
been
do
there
well.
for almost the whole ride, basically.
I'm enjoying my vacation, but I'll be back on Wednesday, July 10th. Speaking of which, July 10th is Smoking Dad's birthday.
All right, smoking dad.
Are we
Smoking
having a
Dad
show that day
is a
or
big
no?
7'5".
Speaking of which, has he come back from his smoke break?
No, he watches in his shed with his tablet. He's
Oh, there
got a
you go.
he
All
watches it.
right.
Jeremy, are we having a show
Tablet.
on Smoking Dad's birthday?
Yeah, 100%. I'm doing a show on my dad's birthday because he's a Lions fan. If
There
it
you
wasn't
go.
for him, I wouldn't be a Lions fan.
There you
And
go.
that's how my fandom got started, was sitting on his lap watching football as a kid.
Yeah, I was raised, unfortunately, by a Vikings fan, but I luckily never turned into one of those.
Right. That is the other thing. How many people just doesn't realize they're not getting notifications anymore because they started with me back in the beginning.
Yep.
Because after 6 months of inactivity, YouTube automatically removes subs.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Because I remember the first time you watched my show, which is way prior to me ever being on South Florida Tribune, you watched because you knew Dom, and Dom said he was going to be on the show. And he
Hmm.
subbed, but didn't come back right away because he watched me, I think, prior to the 2022 season.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Because you couldn't be on because you had other commitments and stuff like that, and you couldn't come in and watch the shows. And I was just doing my primetime shows, which were the same time as yours. He goes, "Yeah, I don't get many notifications from your channel, and I don't understand why that is. I think you
ooh, I
my
like
best
Grandizer's idea for you
ooh,
and your dad.
his dad for that show. JB's top five Lions best players and best moments. Well, my best moment, and it's kind of a full circle thing, and I talked about this before. I first saw Billy Sims running with my dad when he took me to my first game at Pontiac Silverdome. 40 years later to the day, I take my dad to his first game at Ford Field.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, to the day. Unfortunately, we had to watch that travesty of the worst time clock management call by a referee ever versus Seattle, because that cost us the game. Everybody can say what we want, but that clock thing cost us the game. We had the only stop we had on third down in that game.
I would say the best. I've been to some decent Panther games. I've seen Graham Gano hit a game winner. That was my favorite one to go to as a Panther fan. But nothing beats last year meeting three NFL players on the sideline. Even wearing a Panthers jerseys, they were willing to take pictures with me. That was awesome.
Oh, my best moment with the Lions cheerleader happened during the Power Hour karaoke thing. You guys, you know what I'm talking about, B, that they do there in the lobby before you go into the game? I go in there and you can win up to $15 for concession stand, whatever. I sang Creed with arms wide open, and I'm walking by, and that sweet little brunette, the one that got taken to the Pro Bowl this year, you know what I'm talking about? The younger one that
Yeah.
grabs me by the elbow, pulls me in, and goes, "You're really good." So yeah, I okay. Well, you know, that's one of those moments when you're in your 50s when a 20-something girl grabs your arm and tells you you're really good. My reply was not PC. If you think I'm good in the light, you should see me in the dark. And she just blushed, and I walked into the power booth because I am that guy. Not gonna lie, I do that. You told her, hey, no, not at all, because I'm single. I flirted. Not gonna lie,
Oh hell yeah! With a cheerleader on top of it. Shit.
shit.
Last time I got to do that, I was in high school.
Right. Final season at Silverdome. Game versus the Redskins was a flash flood deluge. Knee deep water to get to the gate. JB, that is what the Three Stooges would say. Well, certainly.
Hey James, the final game I saw at the Silverdome was when they were playing the Rams when they were up and coming, the greatest show on turf, and yeah, they kind of annihilated the Lions. I think the score by halftime was like 28-3 or something like that, and then everybody got in the fights above me. I was like, typical
It
Silverdome
was,
behavior.
it was so bad that when I went out for a smoke between first and second quarter, the guys at the beer concession had abandoned their post.
Free bear? Was it free bear? That's
Yeah,
what I want to know.
they left the taps on, evidently.
There you go. Yeah.
So, other than that, all I've seen, the Matthew Judon one is intriguing. I don't know what they proposed in the article because, yes, I think he could help this team. I think that is the only one I've heard is a legit trade target.
And the only reason why I said him too because he's got grit. He does got grit. That dude's got a lot of grit.
Yeah, because we've seen him go out hurt and come back in a game just taped up.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a
He's
guy
done that multiple times.
right. He's not a guy that likes to be on the sidelines if he can play. If he's got a sprained
Mm-hmm.
ankle, he's like, wrap it to my knee. I don't care.
Yeah, he brings the pain too. You don't be bull lesson.
The taps were on, and cases of hard cider disappeared in minutes. Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm taking this. Put
Uh,
under your jersey.
Best Lions moments I've seen in person. 2018 home opener. The last or 2017 home opener. The last year we had Caldwell. That was when we drafted Gerard Davis. David Johnson is breaking away and running for what looked like was going to be a touchdown. And from out of nowhere, the misguided missile known as Gerard Davis tackled him at the 5-yard line. And on the play, I hate the fact that he got hurt, but David Johnson broke his wrist and couldn't play the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
But
when
that's
David
what sparked the
Johnson was
comeback
in
because
there.
we did a great goal line stand right there. We stopped them. They went for it on fourth down and they fumbled the ball. And Gerard Davis recovered it and took it out to the 20.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That was a good Gerard Davis highlight film. That game.
and that was his first, and that's what gave me the most hope about Gerard Davis being good in the NFL was that very first game he played. I think he had like 6 tackles, 1 sack, a fumble recovery, and then that big stop.
Yeah, I think his first through 2 or 3 or 4 games in the NFL, he was just murder.
Right.
But
And
I didn't know what happened after that though.
what happened after that? The defensive interior, Haloti Nada, went down and he couldn't play. And we started that bum we drafted in the 7th round. I can't remember who it was, but the guy couldn't take on a double team to save his ass. And Jared David got washed up in the middle like all the other middle linebackers used to do.
And like every other typical linebacker that we have, we can't cover a tight end to save our life.
So,
But whatever.
well, that's because if you actually look at Gerard Davis's college career, he was moved to middle linebacker because they switched to a 3-4. He was an outside linebacker. And that's all he did was rush the passer his first 3 years of college.
Mm-hmm.
And he was moved next to Alex Anzalone because they didn't have a 2 that was worthy. to be next to Anzalone. Yes, Will, go ahead and shout out your channel before you leave, bud.
My channel is WVogs18. I'll probably start using it as my username. It's a blast being on here. Always seeing Jeremy grow. Jeremy's my mentor. Bistrilla is like a mentor to me. WVogs18, WVOGS18. I do sports cards and I do comic books. And occasionally I do live streams, and Jeremy has appeared. My next one will probably be either this week or next week, for sure.
But thanks, Will,
And
for coming in.
anybody
We
is
appreciate it.
welcome.
One pride, brother.
One
just let me
pride.
know, man, because I want to be on one of those.
And
Oh
then
heck
Mondays
yeah,
at the
Jeremy could
sports
send you
break,
the link.
they do rips. They rip open card packs right in front of us to show off what they're getting out of them. They show off some of their collection. I've showed off my helmet that I got here because I have a total of 8 people. I forgot that I picked up another one this year in another break that I did. I won a mini and got in it. I won a Tua Tunga Viola that's decked out, one of those lunar ones, the white ones,
Mm-hmm.
like the Amon Ra here.
Oh yeah, it was all white.
Good night, all.
Not all white. It iced out is the Cam Akers one I got. That's the all
Oh,
white. That's this one. That's my Cam Akers. So I got two Vikings now that he's signing with the Vikings because I also got Jay Jetta and a custom drip. That's going to be worth something soon.
oh yeah.
This guy here, I was hoping he'd be worth something because I won it after he had that great rookie year, James Robinson the third. But he hasn't
Michigan. Yeah.
amounted to nothing up since
I
then.
like that hat too. I like that hat. That's a nice color hat there.
And of course,
Then
you
you
know,
got that one.
our Hall of Famer Barry Sanders right here.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I got
I
a
got
chrome one with. I got a DeAndre Swift one.
Amon Ra
It's a,
St. Brown.
I'm on Ra. I like that helmet too.
Yeah, that's the lunar eclipse, and that's what
Yeah.
I got for the Tua is a lunar eclipse. Let me show it. Just gotta reach up here and grab it. But it's got the visors, the bumper
Oh
clip,
yeah, that's sweet.
9 yards.
Yep.
That is sweet.
That's pretty nice.
Clips. And then I got a camo Darius Leonard, and I got Charles Harris, who I met in person to get the signature. And that's how I got my shout out on my intro. I won a 77 Falcons helmet, best D of all time.
Wow, you're gonna make a lot of Bears fans pissed about that, or Falcons fan. I mean, Ravens fans.
Well, it actually is listed as the best defensive of all time. 77 Falcons, 2,000 Ravens, 85 Bears. And guess who's fourth? You'll never guess who's fourth.
Wouldn't be us.
Yes, it is. It's 2014 Detroit Lions. That year that we
Hmm.
had the second best running defense in NFL history, and I think we were 15th against the pass that year. We ended up being a top 10 defense. Or the number one defense. We were either number one or number two, but they say that that was one of the best defenses all time historically.
Hmm.
At 59.6 yards rushing per game. Less than 60 yards rushing allowed per game. How nuts is that?
And what publication is that one in?
It was a long time ago when we were ranked fourth. We might be ranked less than that now, but I know we were ranked fourth for a minute.
Yeah, everything I see, this is just what from publications I've seen. I've seen 85 Bears number one, Baltimore Ravens number two. Although I think I would put the Ravens first, but whatever. And the Steelers third. 72 Dolphins. 71 Vikings. That was the Purple People Eaters then.
Yeah. And Paul
And
Krause back
then
there getting
oh
his.
yeah, the 75 Rams. The 66 Packers. The 2002 Buccaneers. Can't forget that defense. And the 86 Giants, 91 Eagles, and
They won it with Rob Johnson, right? Versus the Raiders.
who's yeah.
Too.
Yeah, they had a lot of good. They had Simeon Rice, Derek Brooks. They picked off Rich Gannon like 5 times in the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
poor Rich Gannon.
And Dexter Jackson was the MVP of the game because I think he picked off 3 of the 5. Yeah, he was all over the place in that one.
And
But
Rondé
yeah,
Barber was on that team too, if I remember right.
yep. I think that was one of his last. Yeah, it was becoming one of his last few years as a Buck. I think he retired like 2 or 3 years after that, and or 2 years after that, somewhere around there. Yeah, they had a good defense. Buccaneers defense was really good. I was happy for them too because Buccaneers are another team that gets kicked around a lot in the NFL.
It is. And the fact that
And
they
see, they
got
get
Super Bowl.
and this is what I say about people about when the Lions win the Super Bowl. I said, I'm gonna be happy. You're gonna be happy. All Detroit's gonna be happy. But the rest of the nation ain't going to be really happy. They're going to do like they did to Tampa Bay, kick them in the nuts when even if they won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
It doesn't make a difference. There's always something wrong, you know.
That was one of those snoozer games, James Burgess. You're
Always
absolutely right. If that Falcons team
disrespected.
could have scored just 17 points on offense, they'd have won the Super Bowl that year. They lost, I think it was 16-10 or 16-13 or some stuff like
Who they
that.
playing at? The
God, I
77 team. Wasn't that an NFC Championship game they lost?
thought it was Super Bowl.
There we go. Let's see what we got here. Those are 12th year in the league.
That defense intercepted 26 passes, only allowed 9 touchdown passes, recovered 22 fumbles.
And they were still 7-7.
Yeah, because the offense was that bad.
That's a damn shame.
It isn't it?
They even beat Chicago. They beat Chicago.
Yeah.
See what defenses. They beat 49ers. They beat the Rams. Wow, they held San Francisco to no scoring. They beat them 7-0 at Candlestick. Wow.
At
Beat the
Candlestick,
Buccaneers
that was the thing.
17-0. Damn.
Yards per game was super low too. Bleacher Report: The Forgotten Defense. The 1977
Yeah.
Falcons may be the best
Yeah.
of all time.
Ain't nobody can name. I bet you nobody. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now, but if I tell you, if anybody could name any of those people on there without looking at Wikipedia, they could not.
Roland
Ain't
Lawrence.
nobody can name not one defensive player on there. You might
Anyway,
be able to.
Roland Lawrence. He was the cornerback, one of the big interception guys that year. I just remember him. You know what I mean? Either there's certain guys that stick out. Interceptions used to wow me when they were done good. You know what I mean? Those guys that were actually in coverage, playing it tight, doing it the right way. Back in the old day, you could play a lot tighter than you can now for
Oh
defensive
no,
back.
that's why his name is familiar.
Who?
Tom Moriarty.
Yeah.
Moriarty used to play for the Michigan Panthers.
The reason was
Uh-huh.
Jerry Glanville perfected the zone blitz and defense that season. Other teams had zero clue what was happening.
They had a no-name offense too.
Oh yeah.
June Jones was one of the damn quarterbacks. Damn. Where's June Jones now? Isn't he an offensive coordinator somewhere now?
They only gave up 22 point. The 76 Falcons were the worst in the league at 22.3, and they
Oh, he's an offensive coordinator for the Seattle Sea Dragons, huh? Oh, that was
they
in
only surrendered
23.
9.2 points per game that year. That should
Mm-hmm.
be the best defense ever played in the NFL. I'm sorry. June Jones sighting.
They didn't even get in the playoffs. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, he's saying. I think he's saying that last game of the season, if they could have scored 17 points, they probably would have went to the Super Bowl because it'd have put them in the playoffs at 8-6. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the last game of the season was against the Saints. They beat the crap out of the Saints.
Hmm.
35-7. What's he talking about?
129 points is all they gave up for the entire year.
Yeah, it ain't about the yards sometimes, it's about the points you give up. You give up more points than you do 7-7, you're giving up points somewhere.
Yeah, but that's 9.2 points per game. That's insane.
And probably the reason why they don't get mentioned is because of that, because they're seven
Right.
and seven. They
And
didn't do
because
anything. The
the offense
defense didn't
is
win.
so
Their defense didn't win every game. If their defense was winning every game, that'd be one thing. But I mean, hell, they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh my God,
6.
I do know one of these names because I remember this running back,
Look,
Mike Esposito. You remember that name?
yep.
Wide receivers, Billy Rickman is the only one I can remember. Carl Farmer doesn't ring a bell. Wallace Francis, no. Alfred Jenkins, not really. But I remember Billy Rickman for some reason. Tight end,
Oh, hey, they played. Let me see what they got here. Is that the 76, 77? Yeah, they played the Lions that year too, and they beat them.
I don't doubt it. Dave Farmer was the fullback. I
Like
don't.
that's a surprise.
Woody Thompson was the starter. Dave Farmer was the backup. That's back when you used to carry two fullbacks on a team. Remember those?
The most of points they allowed to give up was against the Rams. The Rams scored 23 on them.
Right.
That's when the Rams were the stuff, though. The Rams are real good then.
Wasn't that with Jack Youngblood and all those guys back in '77?
Rams. Yeah, Los Angeles. Okay. Who was in their team? Uh, Fred Dreyer, Mike Fanning, Jack Youngblood. Yep. They had, let's see, Rod Perry, cornerback. Those are people I know.
Vince Ferragamo as the quarterback. Joe
Yeah.
Namath was the third stringer.
Yep. He was at
That,
the end of his career there. Yeah.
yeah, they only carried three wide receivers. How crazy is
Yeah.
that? That's how far the passing game is game.
They got like 20 damn running backs. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they had a pretty good day. Jackie Slater was on there. Yep.
Yep. Jim Youngblood, Jack's brother.
Yeah, Vince Ferragamo was a rookie because they drafted him that year.
Yep. And he was the starter. He beat out Pat Hayden because Pat Hayden was the guy that was the starter the year before, if I remember right. Fred Dreyer, I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter. Remember that show?
The Rams beat the 49ers. Let's see what they're 10-4 that year. 10-4. Then they lost to Minnesota.
Yep, they lost to Minnesota.
The Purple People Eaters, who went on and lost the Super Bowl. One of the four that they lost.
No, Capoletti was not on that team. At least I didn't see him. I can look again.
I didn't see Merle Olsen's name.
Oh
Did you
yeah,
see
John
Merle Olsen?
Capoletti was the backup running back at that time. Uh,
Yeah.
Cullen Bryant was the starter. That's why I missed it.
Was Merlin Olsen on that team?
Who?
Merlin Olsen.
I don't see him here.
Yeah, I don't think he was on a 77 team. I think
Right? No, he was already in the booth by that time. Didn't he retire in '75? If I remember right. In '77 was the first year he was in the booth for Monday Night Football.
Merlin Olsen. Merlin Olsen. Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah, 76 was his last year, so no, he wouldn't have been on that team. 70 the year before is when he retired.
okay. So yeah, but he like immediately went into broadcasting and ended up on the Monday Night Football with
Yep.
towards the end of Howard Cosell, uh, the guy that did Mr. Coffee. Who was that? 'Cause Merlin Olsen was the one that ended up doing the F- FTP Florist commercials.
Yep.
Yep, he was on Little House on the Prairie by 1978. That's true.
He was in a lot of stuff.
Don Meredith. That's who I was thinking of. Mr. Coffee. Do you guys remember that John Madden became an announcer on CBS before he ever went to Fox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember why he got fired from CBS?
Uh, Not really. Didn't know he
It
got
was
fired.
a Sunday afternoon game, and it was the prime game, the late afternoon game, the 4 to whatever. And it was Washington Redskins versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And Reggie Rucker intercepts a pass and breaks like three tackles. And he got so excited because it was only like his second or third year announcing. He goes, "Look at that fucker go!" Cosell threw up on Keith Jackson boots one night on Monday Night Football. Too many martinis. That sounds like Howie. This is Howard Cosell. Muhammad Ali made Howard Cosell.
Yeah, CBS. I don't think he got fired. What happened was CBS lost the NFL contract, and that their last game was in '94. Him and Summerall. So
Hmm.
that's when they got hired from Fox Sports because all the CBS sports commentators became free agents, or the NFL ones became free agents. So they all went to
Yeah, he
Fox.
got fired or suspended towards the end of that season, and it was the late afternoon game, and or he knew this was happening. You know what I'm saying? And he just let it rip. Look at that fucker go. That was the last time his mic wasn't muted. But Fox technically only wanted Madden in the beginning. He goes, "No, you can't have me unless you bring Pat with me." I do remember that. So, guys, as always, it's been a blast. It's time to give homage to my sponsors,
Oh yeah, good
and we
old
got to do
sponsor.
this one. We're not on Roku.
Right. Fuck the Packers.
Fuck the Packers, the best sponsor I've ever never had. Put it in the chat, people. I'm surprised
There
shit
you
like
go.
that doesn't happen more often. Now that is why tape delay. That is why they do tape delay. If I don't care if you go to a game, you can watch the end of the game on your phone as you're walking out of the stadium.
There you go, James.
Amen.
Well, now they have AI that catches bad words. You know that,
Yeah,
so they don't have to do all that bleeping. They
right.
can just
They
do
just
regular network. And
say
if
say
somebody says the S word, it automatically bleeps it out.
right. It just mutes it.
Yeah.
I
So
know that
AI is
Tony
pretty good
Romo,
at that.
his first game, he got beeped a couple times.
There you go, T-Bone.
T-Bone Lokes. It has been an honor and a privilege to talk with you people in the chat and also with you, Bistrilla. I love
Of
talking
course.
football with you because, we do think a lot more alike than people think. We may not always agree, but we do agree on a lot.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Because I think it's because we're less homer than some people are. Some
That's
people
usually
get
what it
so
comes down to.
some people get so homered they get blindsided and they just think how great it could be. And it's the reason why I said if we slip up a little, I don't see us any worse than last year, but everybody else got better too. That's why I put that win window one less than what our record was last year.
Hmm.
Because it could happen. It literally could. I could see us losing 5 games. I could see us losing three, but at the same time, six could happen too because we have some tough opponents. Thank God they left off Kansas City Chiefs this year because I
I'm
think
just thinking, I got this mentality though. Okay, had this been this is not the same old Lion bunch. It's not run by the same old people either. So when I made my prediction that they shouldn't fall any less than 12, they should go up. There should be no deviation from what they were. They should be better than they were last year. And on paper they are. And they can beat a good many of these teams. I think the only team I think they would have a hard time with right now is the Ravens. I mean, if they played them at home, they have a chance. If they play them against the Ravens, Ravens just got Lions number. Don't make a difference what Lions team it is in history. They get the Lions number. So that's the only team I would think they couldn't beat handily, or they couldn't beat in the last couple minutes of the game. That's just the team I just think they can't beat right now. But every other team in the NFL, I think they can beat. I think
I,
they have a good shot of beating everybody.
like
But
I said,
like I
I said
said,
this as soon as the schedule came out. I said, with the exception of 5 teams, everybody's got 17 winnable games on the schedule.
mm-hmm,
Because on any given Sunday, some people don't just play flat and some people don't. You know what I mean? It's just how it goes.
right,
Every now
yeah,
and then, the team comes out and just they don't look the same. Whether it's a fluke
right.
going around that nobody realizes, then all of a sudden you find out, hey, 20 players of the starters are sick.
Yeah, you're
Blue
right.
are more common than ever, but blue Kool-Aid goes down easy these days. I understand the over optimism. Agreed, the Lions 13 are better this year. And it could happen. I said anywhere from 11 to 14. That's where I was at.
Yeah,
Like,
I
'cause
don't think
I could see us.
I just don't think they're going to take a downturn. I don't think they're going to go to 11 losses. I'm 11 wins. I mean, they're not going to go to 11 wins. They're going to stay at 12 or bet better than 12. I just think that's
I
just the way. That's the coaching, to
know.
me.
But I did say I predict it's more than likely going to be 12 or 13 wins.
Hmm.
Also, I threw that caveat in because so many other teams improved too. Is all I did. Because and I'm not saying they can't beat them. I'm saying there's always that game where somebody has a bad game and costs the game. It happens all the time in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
That's all I'm getting at. But
I
at the
just
same
think that the way the Lions are right now, their confidence is going to be way up there coming into the season because they know they got better, just like every other team out there did. But they got better than every other team to me. They have the number one offensive line. If you got the number one offensive line in the NFL, it's over for all other teams. I'm just telling you. Offensive line makes or breaks anything. And their defensive line got better. Their defensive backfield got better. Yeah, their linebackers need a little bit of work, but who the hell cares about the linebackers if your defensive backfield and your front four are doing well? You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about the linebackers. They're going to do their thing. They might even become more famous because of it.
And here's the
So,
other thing that everybody doesn't realize: we only ran 3 linebackers 22% of the time last year. You know what
mhm.
we threw in a lot? An extra corner or an extra safety. Food for thought, because it is a 4-2-5. There's a
First
reason
of
for
all, and the reason why they do that is why? Because this is a passing league. You need more corners than you need linebackers.
right.
So,
Exactly.
I mean,
And if Jack Campbell made that leap and he's doing better, like Dan Campbell and AG said, and taking the reins to be that Mike linebacker we wanted him to be, that's a good thing because that means he's covering tight ends better too, people.
right.
But at the same time, I got one more sponsor to talk about, and it's one of B's favorites because it's Brandon's Tire right at the corner of Grand Traverse and Atherton, 602 West Atherton Road here in Flint, Michigan, where the water is shit, but the tires are good.
That's right.
Used tires start at $40 a piece and call to get your quote for new tires. 810-233-8230. Talk to George, Red, or myself. And if you don't want to talk to those guys, just call to talk to me. I'm there every afternoon, Tuesday through Saturday. 2 to 7 p.m. If I'm not there, I'm going to be at Lions training camp. Let's put it that way.
There you go. That's where I plan on being. I might see you there, JB, because I'm planning on going to a few of those actually.
My good friend, the Wild Woody Show, that's trying to work. He's actually got a studio together. He's trying to be like the next Woodford Sports. He actually put a $75,000 studio together with booths and everything. And
Wow.
he lives near Detroit. And I've been talking to him. He's helping me build the website. He's also been helping me with my little KCB Sports up there in the corner for the logo. He's got a few more. He's the one that did mine and Von Doom's logo.
Sweet.
So I'm hoping to get with him once I get to where I'm being paid, because I can't afford to quit my job to do that, to drive to Detroit to do a show.
Right.
I'm being paid. And that's nothing against you guys, because I love doing it. I will do it from my home until that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started this because I love the Lions and I love talking football.
Mm-hmm. That's why you do it.
It had
That's why
nothing
I
to do
do
with
it.
getting paid. But if I get to where I'm paid and making more than I make on my day job, I will quit my day job in a heartbeat.
I feel you. I'm with you. We right there. That's why I'm trying to get mine off the ground. So
Amen. And when you're ready to do guests and stuff like that, you got me when you want me. As
yeah,
long as
yeah.
I'm available, I'm there. That's how I am with everybody who's ever been on my show. If they ask me to be on theirs, I go on there, because
Well,
it,
it's gonna be fitting that Smoking JB will be on Nothing But the Smoke. See?
amen. I might have to break out the coffee table and go outside and the whole 9 yards and be out
Right.
there drinking.
Light
Be
up a
like,
couple stogies.
what's funny
Just
is
sit
when I
back.
first got into podcasting, I was just on Free for All Fridays for Detroit Lions on the Prowl. That was all I did. And the only reason why is Jim Bordeaux was a part of my Motor City kneecap biting Facebook group. And I used to do a Monday night, 7, 8 o'clock after work. We'd get together and we'd just shoot the shit in a messenger call. And we'd sit there. And then one of the nights he sat there and he goes, "Can we stay on after everybody leaves?" Sure. Everybody else leaves. He goes, "Jesus Christ, dude, you remember more stats off the top of your head than I've forgotten in the entire time I've been podcasting." And remember, Detroit Lions on the Prowl started way before it got big.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "I don't normally ask this, but you're not just a fan." He goes, "Would you like to be on our Free for All Friday?" I was like, "Sure." And it was during my lunch hour at work. So here I am busting tires covered in grease and tire grit and everything else. And I'd wash my hands and I'd take my break and I'd go sit in the extra office, or I'd go sit outside. If I was outside, I was smoking.
There's your
And
Smoking JB.
that's how Smoking Jeremy B came to be. A guy in the chat, I'm sitting there chiefing away, and I had one of those really hot earbud mics. You can literally hear me breathing like Darth Vader in the background. "Damn, Smoking Jeremy B, don't you think you need to slow down before you die?" That's how the nickname got started.
Just said, I'm your father, Luke. That's what you should have said to him. But yeah.
"I find your lack of faith disturbing."
Right.
But
All right, buddy.
you to watch and try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. The only thing that we can control is how we react to what someone else does. You cannot control anybody else.
Nope.
So until you get in that mindset, you will never